Gentlemen, it's 9 o'clock. I would like to call the meeting to order. On the agenda, we first get staff comments.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. So there may be a little bit of background noise for the recording. So I am not Kristen. I'm sitting in
Really?
for her today. She's unfortunately not able to make it here. She wanted me to pass along her condolences for not being able to be here today, to be in front of you all. But I'm going to do my best. It will not be as good as she can do, but I will do my best. The only other comment I wanted to start with is that as you all are aware, but for those that are listening on the recording, we are recording these meetings now. This was at the request of town council. And mostly it was around the fact that all of our other boards also have switched over to that recording process as well. So for consistency purposes, making sure then that, again, we're following some standardization. And then at the same time, for transparency purposes, we know not everybody can get here at 9 o'clock to listen to the important topics that you all talk about. So this is an ability for them to be able to hear this at their leisure. So I want to appreciate you all for that, for being open to this change. And if you have any questions or concerns, I know it's going to take a little bit of time to get potentially used to it. I'm here. We'll make sure that we work through those together. So thank you all.
Very good. Thank you. So, Mr. Davis, you got to put up the microphone and watch what you're saying. Thank you. All right. Next, the minutes of last meeting that was May 16th. We all have a copy of that. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. Old business, floodplain ordinance discussion. And we can start with the minutes from the September 28th council business meeting. And there's also a floodplain discussion, and you got the staff report and the draft floodplain ordinance. You got that with the agenda of this meeting in your email. I know some of you don't open your email, but that's okay.
Just give me the short side.
All right. Well, I took the liberty to go through the proposed ordinance, which was in the attachments, and I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Prohibition of development in special flood hazard areas. Well, let me back up. Just a remark on the table of contents.
And if you can, please orient me to the page number.
Yeah, the table of contents.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
okay.
is,
Yeah, easy enough. Yes.
Yeah, that's right in the front.
Yep.
It says there are 30 pages.
Mm-hmm.
If I look at the ordinance, I only find 25, so I may be doing something wrong.
We may just need to update the
Maybe.
table of contents button in Word. You have to refresh it from time to
Okay.
time, so that may just be a quick clerical error.
So that's just nothing major. Then on page 9, Article 3, General Provisions, Section B,
Mhm.
Prohibition of development in special flood hazard areas. It's very nicely spelled out that there is an exception for bona fide farm and or agriculture land uses and structures as defined and regulated in the ordinance. Under number 2 and under number 5, there's an exception for the application for stream restoration, natural lands restoration, or floodplain restoration projects, which will help improve water quality and functioning of stream, wetlands, and floodplains. Who determines that it improves water quality?
Yeah. So, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's the enforcement side of that. Yes. So again, from the, and I can only speak generally to this. I'm not the subject matter expert on this, and what I'm going to do, and I would just recommend this. I'm going to take your questions back that you have where, in areas, because I don't want to speak out of turn and provide you all with
Mhm.
guidance that then I have to come back and say, whoops, I was wrong. So generally speaking, just with any ordinances, it would be on the town itself to determine that the ordinances are being implemented. So again, from a general perspective, it would be, if this is a local ordinance, it would be a local ordinance that we as a town would have to come and work to enforce. Now, when it comes to specifically, when it comes to improving water quality, I would have to look at specifically, I'll take that back, to say how how that enforcement action would look. But I can get that clarification, bring it back to you all.
Okay, because I would like to make it as simple as possible, so we are exempt with agriculture, and then there's a whole definition, and with stream restoration, floodplain restoration, stream bank restoration, without going through some unforeseen process, because when that happens, you want to be able to go in and get it fixed.
Mhm. Understood.
Yeah?
I will make a note of that.
Okay, then next on page 13. I'm a little confused. If we are exempt as agriculture, prohibition of development, except development in floodplain or special flood hazard, then there is an permit exemption. If we're exempt, then why does there need a second? It's fine. There is another on page 13 under permit exemptions.
Mhm.
It exempts bona fide farm and agriculture structures that are located outside floodway and non-encroachment area. And then under B, it's one of those statements again that do not cause a measurable change in topography of the land or a measurable change in the elevation of the land.
Mhm.
You're exempt if it doesn't cause a measurable change. Who's going to decide what is a measurable change?
So that has been a part of the discussion at the council level, and I believe I have not gone through well, I've gone through the minutes, I've read the minutes from the meeting. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly how much it spells out, but that has been a conversation around, specifically around, Bill and other elements to say that that there's no desire for it to be something that is going to be increasing over a certain threshold. That certain threshold has to continue to be discussed even as of the last meeting. So I'll come back and like I said, I'm happy to bring that back to you all with the answer on exactly where we're at currently within the draft process. But council has provided guidance that there is some level where, when it comes to land maintenance, that there is a measurable difference between land maintenance um, and then that change in topography that needs to be separated out.
I would like to keep it simple. When there is an exemption for agriculture, there's an exemption for agriculture.
Yeah, no gray area.
Second.
Because otherwise it becomes again an interpretation.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're going to cause a measurable change or
Mhm.
whatever. That does not help agriculture. When you got to put in another drain or restore a stream bank, you got to be able to do that without having to go through a process, or even worse, having to get a permit.
Bert, interrupt just a second.
Yep.
I'm going back to our conversation with Mr. Young, who I consider one of the most foremost authorities that we've got, at least living in Mills River. Did he not say that agriculture, if they invoke a floodplain ordinance, there was no exemption according to the state? Is that right or wrong?
If they would go with the federal insurance program, there would not be an exemption for agriculture.
Right.
The town has decided to go not with the federal insurance program and thus able to create an exemption for agriculture.
Okay,
My interpretation.
okay, I hear you and I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. But was the whole point of this conversation getting started, not for, to be able to supply federal flood insurance for these 11 people that, that's kind of what triggered this thing. That complained because they couldn't buy federal flood insurance because Mills River didn't have a flood ordinance.
As far as I know, I think town council decided not to go that route. So the federal insurance program is not gonna be part of this because this does
So
not
this is
meet
gonna
the
be something
qualifications
Mills River is
only.
only.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, so, so generally speaking, yes, after the events of Hurricane Helene, um, the question of the National Flood Insurance Program came back up, not just for ourselves, but all of Western North Carolina. The town of Mills River is one of 26 communities in the state of North Carolina that does not participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. So at the time, because we did not participate in it, the question naturally came up, should the town of Mills River revisit that topic because in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Through that discussion with council, council again said that they did not want to go with that model that included the National Flood Insurance Program. And one of the reasons why was because of the no exemption for agriculture and what that may mean for the agricultural community. And I dare not speak for council. I'm trying to sum it up. But to the point, what the town is trying to craft, in my opinion, is a very novel approach. And in fact, one that we have not seen one like it, which is a floodplain ordinance that does not meet the National Flood Insurance Program standards to help with providing exemptions for ag. Now, what I'm hearing as well is there's the difference between an exemption for ag as an exemption overall for ag versus exemptions for ag, which means that there are certain exemptions that are spelled out within the floodplain ordinance, but there may be other elements that may or may not. So like to Chair Limke's point is that right here, this is spelling out where there's exemption for ag up to the measurable change in the topography. So it's an exemption up until that point is how this draft is currently written.
which is scary and confusing.
Understood.
It's scary, confusion, and it's like opening the door to the hen house, but holding the fox out in the yard. He's gonna get away from it.
Well, that's why we're here
Right.
and
Ah,
we're giving
yeah,
our
I'm with-
feedback. Okay, so next, on page 18,
I apologize. Let me make a note on this page real quick and I'll catch up with you.
yeah,
What date did you send that?
Hmm.
Date. Did you send it from your personal?
no, you got it from the town.
From Kristen Rental.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I couldn't open it, David, on my phone. I tried.
I don't care what you say.
Let me keep going.
Page 18?
Page 18.
Yes, sir.
Provision for flood hazard reduction. In all special flood hazard areas, the following
Okay.
provisions are required. No structures or accessory structures of any type, including bona fide farm and agriculture structures, are permitted in floodway or non-encroachment area.
Yes, sir.
But earlier, it said that agriculture was exempt from the prohibition of development in special flood hazard area, page 9.
So I will mention that let me just make sure here. There is one element here, and I can't speak specifically to it, that we did catch that there was a little disagreement within it. And I believe this may have been
Yeah.
that we've worked through since this draft has been created.
Okay,
Yes.
so
So-
when it's exempt, then don't later on put provisions in that it's not exempt.
Yeah, so and if I may, again, I don't want to provide false opinion here.
Just
but
take the notes back.
Yeah, so you're specifically concerned about on page 9, under section B, the application is for bona fide farm and or agricultural land uses and structures as defined. Is that here?
Well, that's one of the concern as defined and regulated in this ordinance, that's fine. agriculture is defined,
Mhm.
but this is a prohibition except agriculture. In
Well-
special flood hazard areas, page 9.
Mhm.
Page 18, it says that no structures or accessory structures, including bona fide farm and agriculture structures, are permitted. So that's a contradiction.
I'll get greater clarification and bring it back to
Okay.
this, to the to this.
No,
Board.
you need to take some account. Don't bring it back to us, cause that's way down the road.
Well, what I mean by bringing it back to the board is that I will make sure that we get these questions answered and we will email those out to you all so that you all, so we can provide clarity at that time as well. And if there is the need to adjust, then we'll work through that process.
So that's page 18 under sub 1. Then under 9, that's a long sentence I'm not going to read. But nothing in the ordinance shall prevent the repair, reconstruction, replacement of a building or structure existing, blah, 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 provided there is no additional encroachment below the regulatory floodplain protection elevation in the floodway, non-encroachment area, or stream setback. It makes it very complicated if every time that you want to repair, reconstruct, or replace something, that you have to prove there's no additional encroachment below the regulatory floodplain protection elevation.
Quick question. Where did this come from? You wasn't Road Bed River. Where did this come from? This was picked up somewhere.
So,
Well, I'm just being serious. Nobody in Mill River wrote this, so,
Well,
and it's not the federal, so what was this? All this information and stuff for? I'm just curious.
so I'm happy to provide general information on it. This is pulling from multiple areas. So the National Flood Insurance Program model ordinance that it was that again council has not adopted for specific reasons, and so other elements are in there that mirror that that ordinance again, but stripping out the areas that are were concerning for council, and then also looking at other model ordinances around the state of North Carolina, and then also we have an amazing staff here where they worked through in order to write what is before you. Now, there are specific sections, and there are also because council has directed staff to provide certain sections in there as well. So that's also reflected within this document. So it is written by the great staff here in the town of Mills River using multiple resources to try to make it work for what council has guided us on.
but you got my page 19
Yes.
and
And it's
Sub nine.
subsection 9. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
okay. Next, page 22, section C, floodways and non-encroachment areas. Again, under sub 1, no encroachment, including fill, new construction, blah, 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 shall be permitted unless it is demonstrated through a no-rise certification.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that when it says no rise certification, it definitely does not apply to anything agriculture does or in anything when it comes to stream bank restoration, which is in the floodway.
Mhm. We'll make sure we provide that clarification.
Okay. Then on page 23, what is the S under standards for fill? Section D. Fill is prohibited in the SFHA. What
Yes,
is-
that's the special flood hazard area.
Okay, all right. So we're exempt from that.
But so this, the special flood hazard area, it's, and again, if Mr. Malachek was here, he would be very clear on this. It's the 100-year floodplain is that part.
Okay, but that's where agriculture is exempt.
So again, I'll take that and I'll make sure that we get that clarification for you.
And because it mentions again under D, 1D, a stream restoration, natural land restoration or floodplain restoration project that will help improve water quality and the functioning of streams. Those are subjective conditions. Who determines that? The next zoning administrator or floodplain administrator may say, well, what you're doing there, that doesn't improve the water quality. I'm restoring the stream bank.
Mhm.
I want to be clear that we are able to restore the stream bank, period, because we're agriculture. Or put new drains in without having that trap that says, well, this doesn't improve the water quality, or it doesn't improve the functioning of streams, wetlands, and floodplains. Then under section D 2B, I'll read this out too. Fill for bona fide farm and agriculture maintenance activities shall not cause any measurable change in the topography or elevation of the land of the SFHA and does not require a no-rise certification by a licensed engineer.
What was that first sentence?
Shall not cause any measurable change in the topography or elevation of land in the special flood hazard area
Mhm.
and does not require a no-rise certification. So it doesn't, how do I prove that? You're saying I have to be able to prove that it doesn't cause measurable change. How do I do that?
From the, yes, from the proofs perspective, I'll.
Yeah,
make
but
sure-
then at the same time, it does not require a no-rise certification, which is good because we don't want to do that because that costs a ton of money.
Mhm.
And then under,
How do you prove it?
well, that's where
Somebody's gotta approve it.
Mhm.
I understand that our current or new floodplain administrator will know us but 10 years down the road, it's somebody else. He wasn't part of this discussion. He says, what the heck? No.
Mhm.
Which brings me to the next one, 2C. Fill for bona fide farm and agriculture land maintenance activities shall not be placed in the floodway or non-encroachment areas unless land maintenance is occurring to repair banks of a surface water body that was damaged due to severe erosion or stream bank blowout during a natural storm event and does not require a no-rise certification by a licensed engineer. There's a lot of language here that just,
Gray area creates.
what can we do now? Can we do it or can we not?
Mhm. Yes, so. Again, so yeah, so I'm hearing that it's a, you would
We-
like better clarification.
Yes, I would like to have that exemption for agriculture defined and not every time jump back on what you can do if it improves the water quality or if it doesn't rise the topography or change the topography. Well, those are conditions that you're putting on then later on the exemption. We don't want that.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing from yourself and potentially from the board, you will tell me, is the desire again for the flat exemption for agriculture across the board.
That's what I say, the first paragraph in the whole thing should say agriculture is exempt from anything you read below this line. Boom, it's done.
Anyway, that was my 5 cents worth,
Understood.
gentlemen. Any,
Well, yeah, we appreciate you digging through this
Yeah.
thing.
I agree with everything Bert said.
Yeah, somebody spent a lot of time on it. But you know, like us farming on, creek bank restorations, we have to work with soil and water as big farmers. You know what I mean? In other words, you're gonna get a little bit of guidance from them on what we do, but that's one thing they're scared of also is stream banks. First thing they say, we'll do anything from the field out, not on the stream bank. Which I've never had a problem, never had anybody, but there's no source in Henderson County to go to which I would be scared to in the first place to rebuild my stream bank. But really, I've had no, of my years of farming, as far as, that little area of 50 foot from the river to the field, have I had much guidance on it.
Zero directives on that 50 feet. Zero.
Huh?
Never. You know, you feel like you're throwing yourself under the bus, but there's zero directives in those 50 feet.
Right.
No direction, which is fine.
Um,
Fix it back the way it was.
And Mr. Town Manager, also in the presentation of
sir.
September 2nd on the
Yes.
who gave that one? It even spells it out on slide 12.
Okay.
Article 5, which
Mhm.
pretty much what I just read. Fill for bona fide farm uses and agricultural land maintenance activities shall not cause any measurable change in topography of the land and does not require a no-rise engineering study. Does not require a no-rise engineering. Yeah, that's what we want. But how in the world are we gonna prove that it doesn't cause any measurable change in topography?
Yes, and so from that enforcement side, we can try to provide greater clarity on that.
Greater clarity on the exemption of agriculture.
Well, I've taken that note
Yeah.
as well, but I've taken that note as a general note from yourself. And again, I don't want to, if the board feels the same way, I'll take that general note and make sure it's in the minutes, but also provide clarity specifically on that section for you.
Any other comments, gentlemen? Any input from the public? Yeah. It's interesting, just a little sideline.
Mhm.
I was in Washington DC the last, 3 days, talking about labor and all sorts of stuff. But we had one greenhouse operator that had lost all his greenhouse tunnels, and he had gotten funding from the government. He was happy that he had all the funding, but he still was getting checks now, a year after
Mhm.
the actual event happened. The key in restoration, fixing stream banks, fixing your land up, is how fast can you do it? I think that's the whole essence. If there's delays because of permitting or paperwork or what you got to prove, who you got to talk to, that's what we want to prevent. We want to be able to get back the next day and fix it. That's the important.
Understood. And if I may, just, if there are no other comments, I'll just quickly mention as well. So currently slated October 2nd is the public hearing, regarding this, so for council. Um, for council consideration, but also to hear from the public as well at that time. So, if anyone is, reading through it and wants to come out and provide their input on this as well, that will be another opportunity for everyone to do so. The current floodplain moratorium that is in effect within Mills River expires on October 8th. So those are the two other pieces that, again, that are a part of the presentation that you had mentioned, that those are the two next steps within this process.
So if that's October 2nd, do you think that this proposed ordinance can be updated before that time?
So what will occur, well, first of all, for you all, as I mentioned, I'll take these notes back and we'll work on getting you all that clarification and that update as best we can as soon as possible. But yes, so then there are, it's my understanding, there are some updates that have happened since this draft. Some smaller clarification areas already where we, from the feedback that we received from council at the last time. So we've worked through that. The public hearing is coming forward. That council does have the potential, once the public hearing is done, to potentially move forward with adoption of the floodplain ordinance that is before them at that time. They also may table it, they may defer it, they may vote it down. They have all those options, but the public hearing is a requirement that is necessary before they move forward on any type of potential adoption.
So do we as Ag Advisory Committee, with the remarks that I made, make a recommendation to town council not to adopt the ordinance the way it is?
We do.
As an advisory board, you are able to make those types of, those statements, recommendations.
Okay, because otherwise what I'm seeing is we'd have to get back here on October 2nd and give our feedback in the public hearing. But I think right now, what we see in this ordinance, there's issues in there that are not really favorable towards agriculture.
It will up here, there's on the second, when is the next town council meeting?
So the next town council meeting is going to be on the it will be on the fourth Thursday of the month. It would be October 20. Just let me pull this up real quick. October 23rd is the next, it will be the next council meeting after that.
I mean, I have no problem coming here on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning of that week and reading what they're gonna give to the town council. And, you know, cause we may or may not be looking at what the town council is gonna vote on, if you if that makes sense. They're gonna change it.
Yeah,
But I mean, I have no. Telling the town council gets on top of that, I don't think that's a waste of time, but. Reading what they're gonna vote on Thursday, we, can get that on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning and go over it. Then we're gonna be
well, but
giving our opinion on the final draft is what I'm saying.
is there some kind of rule that when they have a meeting on the 23rd, that whatever they get on the agenda is not going to be changed by a certain date?
So generally speaking, great government answer is it depends, right? So I don't want to provide, say specifically in all circumstances, but yes, so right now, when I was talking about some updates, most of it is there are some minor updates that have just been working through so what you have before you is for the most part, the weight and everything that's going to be within the ordinance that's going to be considered next week. What I can do is I can go back, I can talk with our planning and zoning director, see where we're at with that document, what other changes have been made, if any, and then make sure that, I can communicate that with you all.
Okay.
But generally speaking, we want to make sure that whatever we put out there for those to see, that when they come to talk about it, that it's as close as possible.
Pretty much, after public hearing, it won't change.
But the council has the ability to change it if they wish. So, I mean, so again, if the public comes in or if the council feels a certain way about certain topics, that's also time for them to provide further guidance. They do not have to pass the ordinance that's before them. So they are able to then say hypothetically that they want us to take it back and work on it more to focus on certain areas and then continue through that process.
Well, then is it wisdom for the Ag Advisory Committee to right now say the current presented proposed ordinance is not really in line with what we want to see with all the detailed remarks that we've made?
That is at the will of the board.
Okay,
I make that motion because there's too much gray area. With all due respect, Mr. Manager, this was not ready to present to this Ag Committee. There's too much gray area. There's really no ag exemption spelled out in there. It needs to be just like Mr. Bradley said, it needs to be black and white, period. Ag's exempt, period. The way that's worded, Kirby and I can't go out here and build irrigation station. There's just a lot of issues there. Too much gray area. It's going to cause a lot of division, a lot of problems. Unsatisfactory in my book. This was not ready to bring to that.
Motion.
Contradiction. You know,
Yes,
I mean, it tells us to do
correct.
one thing and then you go back later, which can be, like you said, 10 years down the road. We're not gonna be here. It could be,
Yes, sir.
put on that second side of all six of the ones that he said. That could shut you down agriculture on some of the stuff you do. I like the no rise thing. Like Jason was saying, I put a drip pump close to the river to feed my thing. Well, what's wrong with building that particular pad that's a 18 by 18 up 4 foot to, you know, save it from going underwater because they're permanent. Mine are on the river.
Mhm.
You know, and one side of that coin, I can do it, but if you go right back to 2 pages later, I can't without coming here and saying, this is what I want to do. 10 years from now, you don't know who's going to be making that decision. They might say, no.
Okay,
It's
motion on the
revisit.
floor.
Okay.
Second, any more discussion?
If I may, I need clarification on what the motion is. Is the motion, yes, is it, yeah, by all means, in
Jason?
your words.
I'll be glad to clarify it. The motion is is that the Ag Advisory recommends not adopting this ordinance as written, as it is, the way it is written is detrimental to agriculture. There needs to be a clear, concise, black and white ag exemption in this ordinance. Is that how you word it?
Any more discussion? All in favor of this motion, say aye.
I,
Aye. All right. Clear. Thank you. Next. 191 road widening.
Give me 1 second, I'll catch up there. Thank you all.
And I don't think the issue is the road widening, but what's in the middle of the road.
I can provide general clarification on this as well. So as you all are aware, there was conversation that came up a few months ago regarding the planned widening of 191 and discussion around whether or not the 5-lane highway, 5-lane roadway was still the preferred method moving forward compared to a 4-lane divided highway. That came before council for discussion. We had and do not hold me to it, I believe it was in June or July. And then from there, we brought in some subject matter experts to talk through what the potential pros and cons are at that time. The council had requested additional data and information before moving forward. That currently is scheduled for it's currently scheduled for next Thursday's council meeting. And so for that reason as well, it is before you all today for your discussion regarding that topic. Specifically, if I may, just a little bit more detail, specifically at the original meeting, we discussed there was a proposed resolution. So back years ago, when the decision was that the town council preferred a 5-lane highway at that time, that there was a resolution stating that effect. In order for, it's our understanding that if there is a desire to shift that preference, then there would be a resolution opening up the door for further discussion on the best method for that road or the best use of that road moving forward. So that's kind of what's coming before council potentially over the next Thursday is. Is there a new desire to revisit that in a formal way?
Who were the professionals that giving their opinion on who's the best way to go, or what company, or who did they represent?
Yeah, so at that meeting, and I believe, Chair, I believe you spoke during the public comment section at that meeting as well. We had representatives from the Land of Sky, planning and zoning team, people from
I mean, when's Skyler about hybrid stuff? Well, they're professional, I would say.
So they are one of the regional partners when it comes to roadways and roadway safety. The,
Damn, they covered every base in the book.
well, for the Land of Sky region specifically, they do a lot of work on those. We had, two members from the North Carolina Department of Transportation here, on that as well. We also brought in public safety professionals, such as, from Highway Patrol, talking through those areas as well. And then we also had, I believe we had, I'm trying to remember if we had representation from any other public safety partners at that time. Perhaps Mills River Fire and Rescue. I'm trying to remember. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember if the chief was
Yeah.
there or not.
Think they,
Sorry, I'm looking at Mr. Davis here to try to, in case there was a,
I was not in that meeting. I was involved several years ago when this came up before in providing the documentation that was requested
that's right.
from
okay.
our emergency call response. And that's how I was involved at that time.
Understood.
But
And
Chief Burnett may have been in that meeting. I'm not sure.
And I don't want to say that he was,
Yes.
because my memory, I do not have a memory right now of that, but we did try to get some public safety input. The state was here, and then our regional partner was here as well.
I will say at the time that this came up and that 5-lane, what'd you say, resolution, the fire department was very much in support of the 5-lane highway.
Understood.
remember what you found. Put together for us for
It,
information on that.
it enables us to turn those emergency apparatus around and access quicker. We don't have to go down, turn around and come back. It also gives us more flexibility in directing traffic and controlling traffic. Those were the points that were mentioned at that time.
Understood.
And that's where the state, NCDOT, Land of Sky, they have different ideas. And that's the beauty about our form of government, whereby our town decides finally what it is based on the input from organizations that are located in the town of Mills River, and committees, people that actually live in the town, or organizations that are in the town, like the fire department. And in this case, it was clear 5 years ago or 7 years ago that the 5-lane concept was better recommended and supported by all members of the people that live in the town limits, including the Ag Advisory Committee. And that's still going to be the same.
Understood.
They had the resolution 5, whatever years ago it was. What's got this issue brought back up? I mean, I thought it was put to bed.
There was, again, this is my understanding, was that there was a conversation again based off of the timeline for the widening project and whether or not there was an opportunity to revisit it, just due to the fact that the timeline got pushed out for the 191 widening. And so because that timeline got pushed, to provide an opportunity to again say, is there a renewed interest potentially in discussing that from the, again, I dare not speak for the, North Carolina Department of Transportation or anyone else. But essentially the conversation came back to safety and whether or not the 4-lane divided versus the 5-lane was were the safer option, and in their minds. And so from that conversation, that's why it came before council again. Now, if it was still on track, my understanding is that, again, they had to be planned at a certain time.
Back up, it brought to the town council by state.
No, sir. So I can't, no, it was not taken up by state. It's my understanding that there were discussions regarding the future of the 191 widening project. There were questions that were brought before that, and then therefore,
Somebody on council.
so there was, it's my understanding that I will tell you this, it was not staff initiated or had this discussion.
Not to answer my question, I just go see what you told me.
Okay, but basically for the Ag Advisory Committee, we probably can make a motion that we would support the the previous adoption of a 5-lane highway in the town of Mills River instead of a 4-lane with a solid middle.
100%.
Is that a
If-
motion?
If I may provide, yeah, this, it could be, it potentially could be as simple as saying that, you know, you're recommending not, you know, revisiting
Yep.
Yeah.
that. That's what I'm hearing right now,
Yeah.
but I just want to see, because what's coming before council is not a decision to shift from a 5-lane to a 4-lane divided. What's coming before council is is an openness, is a formal willingness to revisit the 5-lane to the 4-lane, and then later on making some type of determination. So there are two different ways of looking at that, right? So it's not, before council next week is not saying that they wish to go from a 5-lane to a 4-lane divided. That's not before them. It's merely, do we want to, no, and from advisory perspective, saying, is it a 5-lane, and you all wished for it to continue being a 5-lane regardless of, or are you all willing to, you know, formally open up that discussion as well?
No,
You want to make a motion?
Yeah, word it, Wayne. Make a motion, Wayne.
My motion would be, we recommend what we did last time, however you want to word it.
Keep the 5-lane concept and do not reopen that for discussion.
Second.
Okay. That is
Probably not a very well worded motion, but
We will, we got it.
Got it.
By we, I've got it.
I think your wording was perfect, Mr. Manager, that just do not open it do not revisit it. Would be our recommendation.
and again, I think this is the beauty of our type of government. That decision was made by town council 5 years ago. That motion was made, that a policy or approach, whatever they call it, for the 5-lane. We totally agreed with that 5 years ago, and we basically say it's not, it shouldn't change.
Understood. Is
All right,
there a vote on that motion?
It already happened.
vote on that. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, just confirming. I appreciate that. All right.
All right, anything else on the road widening? I know Mike Corner's not here, and I know he's always concerned about the road widening outside of town council, and obviously there's nothing we can do about that. But he's got the same concern crossing 191 from the one side of the road to the other, where there are agriculture fields in that floodplain area. So,
Understood.
all right. New business. None. Anything else? The only one thing that too bad Mike's not here. He was, and I know you didn't see that in the email. He was, appointed to the North Carolina Livestock Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
See y'all. Obviously, bearing in mind that it is amazing how much time Mike donates.
Yeah.
To youth and agriculture, and he does crap I wouldn't even dream about doing. I mean,
But
he really has spent a lifetime promoting mainly dairy,
Educate.
but education of dairy and farming and it's well deserved.
Yeah, and it's very important for the public the youth, the public to be educated on what goes on to get that food to the.
It's just like
Store
the
shelf.
alternative war that he does at the fair every year.
Yeah.
And Mike's 78 years old. And he
Anyway.
can't feel anything from his knees down. And he gets so excited about doing that and does it every year, and
It's,
Trust me, by the time he gets done, he is exhausted.
Sure.
well, very much appreciated and very proud of him being part of this committee. And too bad he's not here today.
Should have called him.
He's probably, it's a fair over, probably working.
No,
Yeah, it's
Cleaning
over.
up. All right, anything else? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Thank you.